Hello there guys and welcome to another Railroader video. Today we're going to be taking a look at another recently released mod. This is going to be the Chesapeake and Ohio H6 2662 Mallet. Now this is a mod by R. Crocken and gang, so a bunch of other people helped with the mod as well as the main modder, R. Crocken. This is the H6, which was designated a compound Mallet by its 2662 wheel arrangement named for the fella that kind of created the thing. Now, being that the C&O was primarily a coal hauling road, they rather enjoyed these things, the 2662s, and one arrived on the C&O in 1910. Now, they were utilized for their sheer tractive effort, high adhesion, and general power. The C&O had numerous 2662s, generally each improving the design to a degree upon each rostered unit, numbering 1300 through 1309. The last was called the H6. Now these units were initially built by LOCO, whereas the 1309 came from Baldwin, and it would be the very last American steamer built at Baldwin for revenue service. Now the 09 ran up until 1956 for the C&O, primarily in the coal-rich hills of West Virginia. The 09 then was moved to the B&O Railroad Museum in the early 70s, living life there for about 40 years, nice and cool and calmly, until the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad acquired the colossal unit for restoration. Now, they, of course, were going to use it in their tourist service, which concluded in 2021 when they finally pretty much had it ready, and it promptly led the Polar Express for the holiday period that year. The H6 had 77,900 pounds tractive effort. The max curve ratio was about 20 degrees. In total, this whole thing altogether weighed about, 643,000 pounds. It was a bit of a chonker. The boiler horsepower was essentially rated at about 2964, so 2,964. Or the cylinder horsepower was 2,616 HP. Now, it was superheated, type A, and the whole compound thing, just for those that may not be aware, the compound Mallet means that it basically used steam more than just once. So it was a bit more efficient in the way that it used steam. And I had 3 safety valves, vented, the 210 pounds of max pressure, of course, and 56-inch drivers. And, of course, it was articulated. The mod was made in the likeness of the original prototype, so how it would have kind of began its life on the C&O. And in-game, in Railroader, it is a bit of a kit bash. Now, it is the primary author of the mod's first project for Railroader, first model within Blender, as far as I understand, and whatnot. And it's, it's pretty decent for a first-time thing, but it's got a lot of things within Railroader that you gotta have to abide by. You gotta play by the rules which the game engine has set. That being said, there are certain things you can and cannot do with putting engines and stock and whatnot within the game of Railroader, and kind of what you got to do to get by and make ends meet and things like that. So first things first are the numbering. You'll notice the numbers are a bit different. You'll have to go in and manually change that. The reason that is different is because these units are actually 2 units, and the way Railroader uses engines and its fancy calculation of the game and putting power down and all that crap, this thing is really only being powered by the rear 6 drivers. So it's basically an 062, I guess. So the fronts are basically just for show within the game. Now they do work, they do move. They just don't put down any tractive effort for you. And therefore you will spin. You will wheel spin. You will spin. You will have wheel spin. I didn't say that as well as I could have. So essentially, if you put this thing in AI, And the way AI likes to create, you know, the way these trains are ran within Railroader, it's just going to go 0 to 100%. This thing's going to be spinning all day, digging up the rails, essentially, burning holes in the earth. So you're going to have to use it manually. And we'll test a few of these things out here to go over, of course, what I'm talking about here. But overall, the model looks pretty darn good. This thing looks pretty damn faithful, you know, within the realm of the game and the things that you can get away with within Railroader. You know, I'd say it looks pretty darn good, especially for this person's, you know, first time mod. Now, the smoke box texturing is probably one of the biggest thing that kind of stands out to me. It looks kind of, you know, Microsoft Train Simulator-ish, very old and kind of just what's the word? Just not very sharp. It's just kind of muddy and like the textures are stretched out or something. I mean, it's nice that it's, you know, going for the look that it was meant to go for. It just looks a little bit muddy. But I do not believe that this is the first and last, you know, thing to be put in for this model itself. I believe it's going to be updated numerous times. As of right now, it's simply a drag and drop within the game structure, the files of Railroader. So you don't have to worry about UMM or any kind of installer for the moment. Subsequent updates to this thing, you may have to. But right now, you just slam it, you know, in your Railroader folder. And I'll go ahead and link down below where you can go and find this thing. And it, you know, explains very nicely how you put it in your game, so on and so forth. But overall, it looks good. It's cool. It's an articulated locomotive. It kind of does fit here. Now, this is obviously supposed to be Western North Carolina, because this is where this road was in real life. These things were in the, you know, foothills. I mean, I guess you'd call them mountains in West Virginia. But they kind of did the same thing in the same area. So it kind of works. The only thing that's not really going to work, I don't know why I hit the 9 key. Let's go back up to the engines here. There we go. We'll go ahead and open the map. That's what I meant to do. Kablammers. So the only place you really don't want to run these is like the very middle of the map. You know, I'd say through like Topton, through maybe Almond, hell, probably all the way to Hemingway. It's a bit curvy. Now, it's not too sharp. It can probably be ran fairly well, but I'd reserve it for maybe like high speed, you know, dailies coming from Silva to say Bryson, and then you do some change in at Bryson, or you want to do like Andrews. Yeah, maybe not Andrews. Maybe keep it to the east side of the map. You know, but they kind of fit is my point. You know, you could obviously play this game however the hell you want, but if you wanted to do it prototypically, I'd probably keep it out of the super twisty, super elevated areas. Right, so let's go over how you put this bad boy down in the game, because it's not as simple as a typical engine, because, well, it's an articulated engine. The game sees it as two separate engines, essentially. So you're going to want to be within sandbox. Now, of course, you can do this within your career mode. If you are in your career mode, you just hit the little squiggly key. I always forget what it's called on your keyboard. Pop that up and type in exactly this mode. It's currently in sandbox, but I'm going to type sandbox, and then you just type sandbox. It'll say set game mode sandbox. So if you're in career and you type that, it'll put it in sandbox, and then you don't have to buy stuff. If you kind of want to go that route, you can just, you know, get some stuff. So you hit Shift T, bring up your stock fly out or your pop out, and you'll see, we'll click locomotives. You'll have L78 front and L78. Where's it at? Ooh, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so it's down there. L78 front up top, and the rear back here. So here we go. You're going to have both of those. Click place. We'll put it down right here. As you can see, top says 1305. Bottom says 1304. So we're going to have to correct that. Initially, I believe you had to connect the air hose between the units here. I don't know if you still have to do that. Let's see. Okay, we'll check that in a minute. First things first is you want to click on the front half. So control click. You'll see it says front. You're going to want to hit cut out. an MU in those boxes, because it's essentially, the game is reading this like it's two locomotives. Right, so once we got that out of the way, to control the light, click the front portion and then hit the J key, which is your light key. And then you should get your light, which should illuminate there. I'll see if the markers work. They do indeed. We got white and green. Very nice. Very nice. It's cool seeing an articulated engine in the game. You know, it's one of the smaller ones. I guess you could call it small. I mean, it's technically not. But, you know, the model looks pretty darn faithful, especially within Railroader. It's just some of the glaring things externally. I'm sure a lot of eagle eyes may see things like, oh, the pipe is clipping through the smoke box, and little things like that the masses may not totally see. But the biggest thing exterior wise to me is still probably the front of the smoke box there, and then of course the rods and all that good stuff, which are always just extremely bright white. And it seems like everything in Railroader is like that. I wish it wasn't. I wish they were all a bit darker and dingier and more gray. But overall looks okay. The texturing on the cab back here looks a bit weird, like there's some airbrush kind of effect going on there. See if the axles and everything. Yeah, it looks like stuff can still be oiled, so that's part of the game. If you still want to do that, you've got it on your career save. I mean, it looks pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, especially for a first time, mod within Railroader. It's pretty neat. I will say that. So let's go ahead and try and fix the numbers. So if you want to do that, like you see up top says 1305, bottom says 1304. So let's try and get the bottom to match. So let's see. We'll go to equipment, customize. So that one's 1304. So let's match it to 1304. So we're going to get the front. Or the rear, we're going to click the rear, equipment, customize, and you'll see as I try to type in 1304, it'll say that it's already taken, already in use. That's because the game is registering numbers and it's saying, hey, this is already being used, and it'll mess up a lot of things within the game, and you just can't do it. So what you got to do to route that is simply change one of the letters in your reporting mark. So we'll do whatever that is. And now we'll do 1304. Et voila! Now we have 1304, top and bottom. So you are good to go. Let's go ahead and hop in this bad girl. We'll click on the cab, hit select. You can, of course, change the whistle and everything to your heart's content, just like every other locomotive within Railroader. This thing is a chonker on the inside. Very large engines. It's got some newer diamond plate texture on the floor. You can see the numbers kind of bleeding through. That's something that is supposed to be worked out in due time, I hope. The interior doesn't look as good as I feel like it could. Things look a little thin as far as like the model itself on the inside and the outside, I guess, as well. It just seems kind of paper thin in some areas, and the the color of the green, the inside, it just looks not completely finished, which is understandable. Exterior wise, I'd say it's about 95% there. Interior, the cab, I'd say it's probably, it's close, maybe like 75. It could definitely use some tweaking and things like that, but it's got pretty much everything else you can think of. I don't think some of the things are operable as far as like hand pull. Let's see. You can turn the lamp on. Here's our headlight controls. You can open the windows. Here's our reverser, which you can use with your hand or your mouse. Brake stand. See the gauges doing their thing up yonder. See if I can grab the regulator here. Regulators! Mount. Yeah, I can't grab it. Now you can, of course, use the shortcuts. And And the whistle, I guess you can't pull the whistle, which, you know, is not animated at the time. You know, but it looks all right. I think the worst thing that kind of gives it away is just the texture or the color of the green in here. Whereas Railroad may look like this. It's just the way it's translated in game. Of course, the numbers bleeding through, and a few other things. But overall, I'd say for a first, and this is an ambitious project. I mean, it's a friggin' compound Mallet 2662 articulated engine within Railroader. I'd say it's a pretty damn good job, well done, so far, if I'm honest. So it does look pretty good, though. I do like the top of the engine itself, some of the weathering on there. It doesn't have that super kind of sleek, wet, kind of greasy, brand new black steel look. You know, it's actually got some gray and some weathering in there and whatnot. Just makes it look a bit more realistic. Although the lighting in Railroader is not the best, and I wish that would be changed. You know, but it does look good overall. It's pretty cool. Let's see what she can haul. All right, we're over in East Whittier now. I set up a train. We got a locomotive sat here, and I got 50 plus cars. I think it came out to 1,500 ton. So we'll see if that's a ripe job for this old gal. I'm not going to worry about changing the numbers again or any of that stuff, but I am going to make sure this thing is working. So I'm going to click that. We're going to cut out this again to make sure. Hit select. We'll go ahead and turn our light on with the jack here. We'll set the markers to white. And then we'll make sure. So when you place this down, I think they might have fixed it, because I know initially you had to actually connect the glad hands back here for the air. I think it's fixed now. When you place the thing down, as you can see right here, it says disconnect. Just check this when you're using it, you know, and just hit shift left click if they're disconnected, because you can actually see the top of the hose right here. So that's, you know, just make sure that's working. I don't think that's an issue right now. So let's go ahead and click the back. We'll hit select on that. And let's go ahead and reverse up on these cars over here. I think I got everything set up here. All right. Skadoosh. We'll go ahead and hook up on there. We'll release that handbrake, release that handbrake, and release that handbrake. We should be good to go. So we are now 68 car, 2,042 ton at 3,000 footages long. Forgot to note as well, there is a different coal texture in this. Yeah, not the best. You know, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not gonna put on rose tinted glasses for you or anything like that. That could definitely be updated. Doesn't look the best. You know, it's not one of those things that you sit there and stare at all day while you're playing Railroader. Granted, so it's not that big of a deal, but it doesn't look that great. So just wanted to point that out there. I do like the rivets on the tender though, and this is a chunky ass tender, 16 ton, 12,000 gallons. Woo! Got a light on the back that does work as well. I hope I showed that off earlier. Open water. You can see the water in there. There's no real texture on there, but you can see that there is water in there. That I could really give a damn, because it's, again, just one of them things you're not really going to see. So it ain't that big of a dilly. All right, let's get that. Look at that thing, man. The front of this thing is the bread and butter. It just looks so damn cool. All right, let's get the bell going. Bell works. And we'll try and display the, let's see, let's try and get some time here. Better lighting. There we go, should be a bit better. So the whole thing, again, with the drivers. The rear drivers are the only ones really putting power down in the game, just because the way the game works. It wasn't designed this way on purpose to kind of cut any corners. It's just how the game is right now. The fronts are just there. They're just, you know, just for looks. Just for shizzies and gizzies, basically. So let's go ahead and throw the thing all the way forward. We'll peel off the independent, and I'll try and just do it wide open here and see if they spin. There there you go. As you can see, they do spin. So that's why you cannot put it in AI, because currently AI, has no articulation as far as how they apply the throttle. So you just got to do it real gentle like. Let's go ahead and hop out of this thing. We'll take a peeky poo. So just nice and slow. I was testing this thing a little bit earlier, and it can pull some stuff. It is no slouch. Of course, it's got the random what whistle? The DNRG 5 chime. The Western Maryland 3. So yeah, just go easy on it. Just with any locomotive and railroader, ideally, you don't have to have the reverser all the way forward, and you don't have to have the throttle cracked all the way open, just nice and gentle. Like, you don't want to underdo it, but you don't want to overdo it either. It's just not necessary. But it does look very cool just watching this thing work. The two sets of drivers right now, they are out of sync, which is kind of cool. I do like that. But when you start, and if you start very gently to where the rear wheels don't, or the rear drivers don't spin, they will be essentially mirrored. So if you kind of spin them up a little bit, they won't have that mirrored look, and it just looks cool as hell, man. This is a cool looking engine. Again, exterior wise, I think the model of this thing looks pretty darn good. It's having no trouble at all pulling this train. So if you want a chalker that can take you, from Silva into Whittier, hell, Silva to Bryson even, because there's no super crazy grades and no super crazy twists on this side of the map. So this thing would definitely fit here. Let's go ahead and go take a peek over at Nexus. All right, here's the absolutely ad virus filled, and I don't mean viruses and it's going to mess up your computer. I just mean there's just so many damn ads on Nexus. I freaking hate it, but it is what it is. This is hosted on Nexus, of course. I'll link down below where you can go and find this thing, and it tells you everything you need to know, essentially how to install it, which update it is, tells you all about the engine, how to place the engine within the game, and all that good stuff. Got some pictures, and yada yada. This is where you're going to find it, guys, and it's already getting quite a few downloads, 600 downloads, so people are already on this thing like flies on a hot turd. But I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.